Hey guys, welcome to our dungeon guide for beginners for veteran Darkshade Caverns 2. Now, remember that mining company we bullied to death last time? Well, let's check in on them and see, if everyone's doing well. Oh wait, okay, there's a lot of qualm and shit, so this might not go as exactly planned. Not a very friendly visit already.
Over here, they appear to be in some sort of catatonic state.
Seems like they're in a coma, but now they're all rising back up like zombies to greet us. They're not very happy to see us. Anyway, as always in other videos, we do not have any champion points allocated. The healer, DPS, and tank only have gear and skills. Pretty much, the first boss is encountered here. We have different boss placements compared to Darkshade Caverns 1. And this boss actually does just two things. The first thing he does is try to launch a fear ball at you to CC you, or fear you. And the second thing is that very obvious blaze of glory he does. If you're DPS, tank, or healer, it's best to not move once you get hit by it, because it just keeps going on in a clockwise rotation. So if you keep moving in a clockwise rotation with the fire, you're gonna keep getting hit by the multiple ticks of fire. So just stand still, take a hit, and you're done. Yep, rinse and repeat. Rest in peace, the fallen foreman. And so we'll steadily advance throughout this dungeon, try to explore what's going on with these guys. I mean, I know they were pretty angry that we wiped out pretty much their entire Qualma population, but you would think they'd kind of like say, oh hey, hello, get out please, instead of trying to kill us straight up. Unlike veteran Darkshade 1, damage is a bit more noticeably higher in Darkshade 2, and the boss placements are again different, as I mentioned before. So there won't be the healer boss or substitute boss in the corridor to the left ahead. So instead we'll be turning to the right after we kill this trash. Yep, no boss there. And we'll kill these two Qualma warriors. There's a neat trick you can do here, and I'll show you guys. You don't have to do all the trash here. You can just go to that front door up ahead to trigger the next boss. If you want to kill the mobs here, feel free to, but there's no real need to. So here we go. Once you go towards that door, you trigger the next boss. You got these huge, big scribs that I don't think are normal size for babies, but here we are. We have a transmuted Hive Lord. Bigger, badder, stronger, and more qualmier. As a tank, you want to hold the draining and sedating scribs on you and block their heavy attacks. If the sedating scrib manages to land a hit on you and block it, you'll just kind of fall over in a sleeping state until you break free. The draining scrib drains your resources. And the transmuted Hive Lord, well, he gains a shield as he starts pounding the ground, as you'll see. Now in PvE or PvP in the Elder Scrolls Online, you cannot crit on shields. So it might take your group some time to get past those shields. However, we get past it fairly quickly, and we kill the transmuted Hive Lord. Oh, and what a surprise, we have a Dwarven Centurion. The Dwemer constructs were a lot further in last time we were here, so curiouser and curiouser. They're pretty meaty at over 700k health, so take your time with them. Interesting fact about this Centurion in particular, if you aggro him a bit early before he comes into this passageway, he will actually go back and kind of trigger the next pack of trash here. So that's a pretty interesting fact to note. So if you want to not trigger the trash with him, just let him come a bit more closer in the hallway. And another 700,000 health Centurion. You just want to drag that guy. He doesn't really do much, except for his heavy attacks. And the spheres and spiders do a lot more damage to you. So be careful. Especially when they're powered up like that. And here we have the next boss, the 3 transmuted elites, instead of the Hive Lord like last time. So these elites, the trick behind these guys is to hold them in a tight stack. Make sure as a DPS your dots and such are evenly cleaving all 3 of them at the same time. Of course, with how debuffs work, enchants work, and single targeting works in this game, one will probably be always lower than the other 2, so you can feel free to rotate your DPS around on each target, because what happens is if you don't kill them all roughly within a 4.5 second time frame of within each other at the same time, they just come back resurrected at a smaller health percentage. So you want to avoid them coming back from the dead. So here we are, we're just trying to kind of even it out, And it's not very difficult, even without CP as a tank, to manage your resources and hold them. It's just honestly don't do too many attacks per second, so your stamina should be fine. And there we go, we did it. And here we are, moving on to the next trash pool, just a bunch of spheres and spiders again. You would think the Dwemer would, I don't know, leave behind a manual or something, or like mass-produced manuals to turn these things off, but we'll never know. And here we have the next boss. This is Grobel the Jellyfish, as I like to call him. So this is a very interesting, unique boss that a lot of groups used to have trouble with in the past. Primarily because damage used to be a lot lower back then for players, so like your single target damage was not an insane 60-70k we see these days in the Somerset patch. It was more like 10k, 15k, 20k. A really long time ago was 3k, but this boss is only vulnerable to your single target damage for a very short amount of time after you get past these jellyfish ads. So you want to just focus the ads. Your AoE effects will still hurt the boss. So don't just not put AoEs down on them. Your AoEs should still go through. Only your single target, your light attacks, your even taunts will not be able to penetrate that electric shield of his. In fact, if you keep light attacking with a Destro staff or something, he'll reflect those projectiles back at you. So be very careful with this boss. As you can see, there's no real need to taunt him. He doesn't really do heavy attacks or light attacks too much. All he does is a big electric AoE people can get out of. The only real threat are those medium-sized netches over there, this one in particular too, because what they can do if they're not taunted on the tank, they can CC a person and they'll just kind of be levitating in midair, frozen until they break free. What happens is the boss will teleport over to them and do that big AoE, and that'll probably kill them. And here he is, down again in his exposed period of time. And it seems like we need one more round to finish this fight. So again, your job as a tank here is to hold the medium-sized netches. And as a DPS, always keep your dots down, your AoEs down. And the scenario I described earlier just happened to me, but just because I'm a tank with higher resistances and health, oh, there we go, here's a death. But just because I'm a tank, I survived it. And we should be close to putting Grobel down here soon. Kinda rhymes with Rubble from the Elder Scrolls Online developers. That name. Alright, here we go. Grobel is down. Try to always focus him hard as a DPS. Don't mind the other ads, otherwise you'd have to go through that entire phase of killing the ads all over again. And each time gets increasing longer and longer, so the faster the fight ends, the better it is for the group. And here we have a very intimidating looking army of spheres, spiders, and centurions. It is possible to pull them all in at the same time. However, for inexperienced groups or people with no CP or less CP than people with cap CP, it can be a very challenging pull because it's a lot of damage. So you want to pull one section at a time. The first section usually is 1 or 2 centurions. I think I accidentally pulled the second one, and you just want to take your time. And as you group DPSs through this, feel free to keep pulling them in, however amount you're comfortable with, go for it. Whatever amount I'm in. Honestly, the spiders don't hurt too much. The spiders are definitely a catalyst for powering up the spheres and the centurions. You can bash those ones that are trying to power up. You cannot bash or interrupt the ones that initiate this power up. So spheres actually hurt the most here, in my opinion. Their projectiles hurt a lot, and their path abilities, like that one that just grazed me, hurt pretty bad too. So if you're DPS, try to stand clear away from their frontal view when they're aiming at a tank or whoever has a taunt or aggro on them. And the Centurions don't hurt too much, honestly. You just gotta block their heavy or their spin, and you're good to go. We have this Dwemer garrison almost speed. And one more spider, and here we are. Now we're going into Rukergam's, the Dwemer ruin we glimpsed from Darkshade, veteran Darkshade 1. And here we're gonna find a door, a mysterious door. Behind door number 1 is a big, giant Dwemer spider. So I fast forward this portion because, well, it's pretty much the same boring fight over and over. However, it can be challenging. So I'm going to explain the mechanics as we go along. It's kind of like the game traffic light, I guess. Red, yellow, and green. Except red here means fire, very dangerous fire that will probably kill you if you stand in multiple AoEs. Yellow, or rather blue, means lightning and adds. And of course green means poison. So when it turns green, oh, I died. When it turns green, it will initiate a boss room wide poison dot, and the healer and tank can help the group heal and mitigate through the damage. And when it turns red, it spits out fire like a flamethrower and spits out firebomb AoEs if you're too far away. If it turns blue, it means adds will spawn. A total of 3 Dwarven Spheres will spawn. And you just kind of have to kill the adds as you go along to play safe, and eventually you'll get it. And that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching Darkshade 2, Bet without CP. For watching the dungeon.
Everything changes.